This is the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Welcome back to another episode of the Talk of Music City Real Estate,
where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
My name is Monty Moore with Realty One Group Music City.
Hey, and I'm Carrie Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team.
Every week we'll be posting a new episode chock full of Nashville real estate value.
Yes, and you can follow along, subscribe at talkmusiccity.com.
Got a question for us? Ask away at questions@talkmusiccity.com.
Monty!
Carrie Ann, recognize the bearded one next door to you here?
It's so good to see you again.
Man, that last episode was so good. We just asked him to come back.
There you go.
I mean, and it's not very often we do that. Not that we haven't had some awesome people here, but just...
well, he's got a lot of goodness.
Well, there's a lot of information there, and I understand you're also not only a realtor, and you had great scripts for the coming changes, Art Kelly, by the way.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
But
Hey,
you're
thanks for having me.
But you're an author.
Yeah.
A book called FriendMaker. It's right here. Where can we get that book?
Yeah. So you can go to Amazon and just look up FriendMaker, Art Kelly, and you'll find it. It comes up top.
The seven spheres of a FriendMaker.
Yep.
And those that know me know that I love a good business book, and I purchased that a long time ago. I actually saw you post my hand. I was like, look, there's my hand. I'm a hand model now the other day.
That's right. It was you.
Yes.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah. But, it's crazy just to think that this is the people business, right? This is the business where, you can really grow your business by becoming a friend with so many more, right? And so excited to talk all through the seven spheres of a friend maker with you, Mr. R. Kelly.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm a sponge.
I don't
man.
think Monty's gone to your class, so
Not this one.
No, I'll have to
not
do
this
another one.
no.
here.
So we should do another one
That'd
here.
be great.
Yeah, that'll be a good time.
As being an old guy, I'm especially, I guess as an old guy, I realize that our world is changing so rapidly that I'm an information junkie. If you looked in my Audible account right now, I have about 135 books, I think. I have some, probably at least I read usually 4 at a time, something like that, just because I think I might have a little of that attention deficit disorder thing because I see squirrels all the time. I get distracted all the time. Real quickly, we've threatened more than once, Carrie Ann, on this topic of books. And look at me going in a different direction here real quickly. So what are you reading right now, Carrie Ann? I'm curious. Art, do you have any favorite books right now that you recommend?
I'm still reading The Pumpkin Plan.
Okay.
Pumpkin Plan?
Yeah. I'm going to grow. I'm becoming a farmer. I'm going to grow the biggest pumpkin,
Wow.
which is my business. But, it's all about relating it back to growing it as a farmer. The pumpkin.
Pumpkin Plan. I
There you
hadn't
go.
heard the Pumpkin
Yeah,
Plan.
it's
I'm
good,
surprised
actually.
I haven't heard the Pumpkin Plan.
Who's the author of that one?
Mike, somebody.
Yeah.
I'd have to get it. It might be in my Mary Poppins bag back here.
So my top 3 right now are Winning by Tim Grover. Used to be Michael Jordan's coach.
Yeah.
The guy's intense. I mean, he is so intense.
Well, you have to be if you were
it's
Jordan's coach. Yeah.
I mean, he talks about what Michael Jordan did to get where he was at. I mean, he was having workouts the day of big games. I mean, it was just incredible. The guy was a beast. Killing Sacred Cows is really good as well. Garrett Gunderson. There's so many things that we're taught as a society, or maybe from kids, or maybe from parents, that just aren't true about money. It's just not true. And so it's really good information. I wish I'd had this years ago. And then if you know Patrick Bet-David, Your Next 5 Moves, powerful book.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
He's all about staying in offense and always knowing what you're going to do if that plan doesn't work and where you're going to go, so nothing catches you off guard. The guy's really significant.
What I love about Art's book is, and what I love about a lot of books, or what I'm attracted to when it comes to certain business books, is breaking it down into simplicities, right? Having, there's 7 spheres, right? And kind of navigating each one of those, and how to build your business, through those specific spheres. So why don't you maybe break those down for us?
Yeah. So, in answer to your question earlier, Ryan Holiday. Anything by Ryan Holiday.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Is
reading
your
a lot
book?
of his stuff. Yeah, he's got a book called Obstacle is the Way.
Is the Way, yeah. Good
He
book. I
draws
read
on
it.
a lot of like Marcus Aurelius and Stoic philosophy and stuff.
It's amazing when these guys go clear back that far.
Oh, yeah.
And start quoting those guys. It's like, man, oh man, can you
This
imagine how
stuff's been
smart you
around.
must have been to to be brought in, centuries later.
Well, it's interesting because it just shows even the ancients dealt with the same stuff.
I think it's amazing. I'm over here just growing a pumpkin. I'm just farming a pumpkin. You guys are talking about the ancients and this. I'm just a simple girl. Bring me back to the seven spheres.
Well, they say that men think about the Roman Empire at least several times a week or something like that. So
how we're going to conquer it.
Yeah. But
she's making pumpkin pie over here.
Pumpkin pie. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Hey,
it's not even Thanksgiving yet.
It's all good. Everything pumpkin spice.
I wrote my book. So I actually got the idea to write my book back in 2020 while we were all just sitting around, in our pajamas, just waiting on
afraid to go outside.
Yeah. And I started to just kind of think about, because I'm very much as I learn things, I want to share the things that I'm learning.
Yeah.
And so it's just a part of who I am. Mm-hmm. And I've always wanted to put all these ideas into a book. And so, my wife and I were actually we were in Fort Walton Beach she's a photographer, and, shameless plug for my wife, Rebecca Kelly Photography in Murfreesboro.
Awesome.
But she was at a conference there, and we were there together, and I was just waiting on her. And while I was there, we were just talking about what are the things that I do in my business when it comes to, dealing with my clients. How does that look? Mm-hmm. And so we started coming up with these words, and we just were like, okay, well, first of all, I listen to my clients, and then I learn my clients, and then I kind of like my clients as I get to know them a little bit, and then I'm loyal to them. Mm-hmm. I leap for them, have hard, come to Jesus conversations with them, take risks for them, that kind of thing. Loyal, lead. I lead them confidently and professionally as a competent professional salesperson, and then I love them long after I sell something to them, so that I don't.
Can you say those one more time?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So those were the really words. Cool. We're just talking, and so that was the seven spheres. So basically, what I did is I compiled all these 7 words into these 7. I figured out I thought about like circles or, the 7 circles of FriendMaker or whatever. But I thought a sphere has more depth to it. Like it's something like you think about a sphere, like you can live inside of a sphere, right? And so what I thought was, these are the 7 spheres of a FriendMaker are that, first of all, when I meet somebody for the first time, a client, whatever, the very first thing that I need to do is I need to dwell in the sphere of listening to them. And what I'm going for in that moment is attentiveness. I'm trying to show them that I'm paying attention to them. So I'm letting go of distractions, and I'm doing the things that we all should be doing, like putting my phone away and pulling out a piece of paper and writing down all this stuff and listening, actively
letting them do the
talking, letting them talk. Because I think a lot of us get into relationships with our clients and we just throw up all over them. Yeah. And so
I sometimes put my hands underneath, so I know they're like little triggers you learn, to remind yourself to shut up.
Just
if you're a talker, you gotta stop talking.
So for those of us that are like you and I, we're very extroverted, and so like it is natural for us to want to just talk because we get energy from just sharing stuff with people, but we can overwhelm people with that if we're not careful. And so it's important. Yeah, that's right. And so showing them that we're attentive.
No offense.
And so that was the first sphere, is listening. The second sphere. So from that point, then I go into this phase of I'm in the sphere of learning. So I'm learning my client now. So now I've listened to them. Now I'm learning what makes them tick. I'm learning. And this is really this moves more into a core value of understanding. So I'm trying to understand why is my client the way, like listening to them, you're just learning a little bit about them, but like learning your client, you're really gaining into understanding of who they are, what makes them tick, what do they want, what are their dreams, what kind of a human being am I dealing with here? And then as you listen to people and as you learn them, the next sphere, which is an interesting sphere, is I call the sphere of liking. Well, the sphere of, we can't like everybody, right? I think there's a lot of folks that we struggle with liking, and some people are not very likable, and you're going to deal with clients that are not very likable. But the core value underneath that is respect. People want to be respected. And so I think as you work with people, the more I work with people through the process of taking them from contract to close, or from searching to finding a house to finally going under contract or whatever, I get to a point where I just start to like these people. They get to like me. I like them. I mean, you got that 1% of people that It doesn't matter what you do, you know, but that's a natural part of this process of carrying people through the 7 spheres. And the main reason, the ultimate goal is to have repeat business, to have referral business, and ultimately it's just to have a friend, right? You're making friends, and the more friends you have, the better off you are. So the liking sphere is really about respecting people, not just trying to be buddy with them all the time, but understanding, you know, that they need that sense of this person respects me as a human being.
You know what? I'm sorry for interrupting you, but
that's all right.
one of when I saw you speak at Carrie Ann's event not long ago, one of the first things that got my attention about you as a teacher and conveyor of great thought was the fact that if your business is slow right now, your number one job needs to be going out and making new friends, making more friends.
That's right.
That's really simple, but it's really true.
Yeah, we all talk about leads, right? Like everybody talks about leads. Like that's all the number one thing you see on your social media feed is you don't have enough leads. You need to pay this money to get leads. You don't need to pay a penny for leads.
Right.
You don't have a lead problem. You have a friend problem.
Friend problem.
Yeah. And so go make more friends. And the truth is a lot of us don't know how to do this. This is essentially like a formula for how to make friends. That's what I'm teaching people. It's really funny because, you know, a lot of real estate, a lot of business books in general give you like principles and nuts and bolts kind of stuff, how to do, like what to do. This is about like what kind of a person you are. This is about how to be. And so, and that's a challenge because it's really hard sometimes. I mean, I can't necessarily teach you how to be a decent human being. Right. But if you do the things that I'm teaching in this book, it does help you get closer to that goal of being a better kind of person.
Create some guardrails.
Yeah. Originally, my tagline for the book wasn't how to build a business on friendship. It was going to be how to become the kind of person that others want to do business with. That was just long, and it was just too long for a subtitle. So I love how to build a business on friendship. Yeah. So the 4th sphere is the sphere of leaping. And so, I'm sorry, this 4th sphere is sphere of loyalty. I teach people that now once we've listened to our client, we've learned our client, we know what makes them tick, we like our client now we need to show in the process of being their representative how we're going to be loyal to them. And loyalty shows up in the core attitude of advocacy. We're advocates for our clients. We show them that we are there for them. We're going to fight for them no matter what, until they decide to walk away from it. Now, sometimes people, I do put in there a little caveat. Steve Harvey says that loyalty has an expiration date. And that was a tough one for me to really swallow. My wife brought that one to my attention. I was like, no, I'm always loyal. And she's like, you are, but not everybody else is. And sometimes you'll find your clients aren't as loyal to you as you are to them. And doesn't mean you still can't be loyal, but it also helps you understand that sometimes the way this process works is that sometimes you don't win. And sometimes you won't get to keep that client for the long term, and that's okay. It's still okay to, you know, send them your mail outs and call them every once in a while. But if people aren't reciprocating some kind of loyalty, you know, put your energy where the business is coming back to you. Doesn't mean that you don't care about those people, but you do as a business person have to go, okay, where my energy, you know, I need to put my energy towards things that are going to bring me business and help me to continue doing stuff. But that's the sphere of loyalty. Then the sphere of leaping is the sphere of risk taking, right? It's where you have hard conversations with people. You tell them the truth. You tell them things that they don't want to hear. You don't tell, like, you don't, somebody says they think their house is worth $500,000, but it's really only worth $450,000. Don't just price it at or don't just encourage them to price it at $500,000 just because you want to be nice and you want to be their friend. Right. Tell them the truth.
A friend will be honest.
Yeah, and sometimes I even have conversations with my clients, and I go, "This is the moment in our conversation, our relationship, where I might lose you as a client." And they go, "Oh, why?" Well, because I'm going to tell you the truth right now.
Well, I love that preface. Yeah, that gets
so
their
you
attention.
tell them the truth, you know, and or maybe it's you can't buy a house right now. Maybe we need to wait. Maybe this isn't the right time, all that kind of stuff. And you've got to be able to remove yourself and your need to sell something from the outcome in that moment and realize sometimes what's best for your client may not be best for you in this moment, and that's okay. And so that's where that leaping comes from, having hard conversations.
I think the flip side of that is not being put in the friend zone as well, because sometimes I learned that a long time ago in my 20s. I'm like, I'm your friend and I'm your friend and I'm your friend. But then I never had those hard conversations to say, oh, by the way, I'm also a lender, right? I just assumed because I was friends with them that we would work together, right? So making sure, I love that piece. You cannot forget that you cannot be stuck in the friend zone.
No, you can't.
Of that. This is a, we're friends and this is a friendship, but we're also in working relationship together.
Well, and that was another big thing. Like when I was writing the book and the FriendMaker and all that stuff, I was like, oh, people are going to look at this and be like, Art, bless your heart. You want to be friends with everybody, And I realized, there are certain boundaries you do have to set. Sometimes you can't do business with your friends. What I've found by and large, for the most part, you can. And most of the time your clients end up being your friends. But there are some times where there are exceptions to that rule. And you do have to know where to draw those boundaries at certain times. But for the most part, I think that you can build relationships with people. And it's so much more fun to do business with your friends than it is with a bunch of strangers that you don't know. And it's a lot easier and I think a lot safer if you're being referred business from your friends than if you're just getting cold leads from somewhere. Because sometimes, you're going to go meet some stranger out in the middle of nowhere that you don't know because you got them off of a Facebook lead.
Right.
You don't know where that's going to end up. No. But if you got a referral from a buddy and they want to meet you out somewhere,
good chance
that's a lot better
people.
Chance, that you're not going to get murdered or whatever.
Yeah.
So the sphere of loyalty, leaping. The sixth sphere is the sphere of leading. So, and this is where we serve people powerfully as professionals, as competents. As competent professionals, this is where I say, yes, it's okay to be friends with your clients, but be really good at your job. Know how to take people from contract to close. Be competent, be skilled, take the classes, get really, really good at what you do. So that way, when your friends call you because you're their friend and they want you to use you, you can turn it back around and be like, listen, I love that you're my friend and I really appreciate that you want me to help you. But here's what's really important to me. I'm going to take you through this process and I know what I'm doing. And I can say that with confidence and I'm skilled and I can do all of this stuff. And so being really good at what you do is so, so important. And that was the danger I felt when I first started writing this. Some people are going to go, Art, you just want to be friends with everybody. But that's why I put that sphere in there because it's so important. You are leading somebody to do something that they may have thought that they couldn't do.
I believe a good real estate professional is a leader. I really believe that, and that's what our world needs is more leaders. You know, so I really do appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that's where you're not a yes man or yes woman. You're gonna, hey, this is what's best for you. This isn't about me. This is what's best for you.
That's right. And so then finally you take them into the sphere of loving. And this is where you show your client that they're not a commodity, that you're just using them to get a paycheck out of, but that you actually care for them long after you sell them something. So I have like an after the sale client care process program, whatever you want to call. So like I have a newsletter that I give to my clients every month. I give phone calls once a quarter just to say hi, not even really real estate stuff. Hey, you moved into this house. How's it going? I give them a list of all of my vendors of services. So plumbers and doctors and chiropractors and everybody else, they get that. I'm on the welcome wagon in this town. We talked about that commission conversation earlier on. One of the most important, probably the most valuable thing I give to my clients is that list of about 45, 50 names that they can stick on their refrigerator.
A lot of value
when
there.
they move into this city and they don't know anybody.
A lot of value there.
They know all of my friends. They have and all of these are all personally vetted relationships. People that have, my home improvement contractor, my plumber who's worked on my toilets, my electrician who's
that
worked
alone
on my stuff.
is well worth the commission.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like how do you even put a number on 25 years of relationships, But loving people long after the sale communicates to them that they're not just a commodity for you to use to get what you want, but they're actually a part of this community that you're trying to build. And all of your past clients are now this community that you have. And so you get to love on them and keep sharing, good information with them and life with them and throw parties with them and bring donuts to their offices and send them thank you notes and just birthday cards and all that kind of stuff. And then over time, what happens is your people refer business to you because they like you. Yeah. They're like, oh, you didn't just sell me a house and make $10,000 and walk away.
You became part of the family.
You stayed in my life. And so that's the whole goal. At the end of the book, there's a phrase I put, he who dies with the most friends wins. And at the end of the day, you know, what matters the most is that you make a lot of friends in life. You can't take all this stuff with you that you're making, all this money, all these things that we get to have, which are all great, and I love all of them, the things I'm able to do. But at the end, I mean, when it's all said and done, the only thing I've got is the relationships I have in my life.
Amen.
So
Amen.
true.
So,
I think Meg will have the most. I always got to giggle. My mom, she never meets a stranger, you know.
Yeah.
She'll go to the the Panera Bread, and she sees someone sitting by herself, and she asks if they would like someone to sit with them,
Wow.
you know, and have lunch. But you're right. You know, we can't take all of this when we're gone, but we can create great relationships. And I think that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I think our relationships just naturally become true friendships when you're just doing all the things within the sphere that you're speaking of. So I love that. I love that.
So that's it. That's pretty much, that's the book. I wrote the book as a story. So it's not just just principles.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It's written as an allegory, kind of like The Go-Giver or Seven
Love The
Spheres
Go-Giver.
of communication, things like that. And the idea was, you know, a lot of times it's easier for us to understand things when we read them in the context of a story.
Amen.
So it's a story about a guy named Nolan Victor, who's a real estate agent. He just starts his business. He gets frustrated at first, and he just doesn't know how to do what he's doing. He runs across an agent who's been in the business for a while, and she introduces herself as a friend maker. And he's like, "Oh, that's funny. What, are you not a real estate agent anymore?" She's like, "Oh, no, honey, I still sell homes." But she said, "I just make friends for a living. That's all I do."
Yeah.
Every once in a while, one of my friends just calls me up and refers business to me, or, repeat business. And then she introduces him to the guru, the guy, Dave Sawyer, who is the guy who teaches this workshop called the FriendMaker Workshop.
Wow.
He goes to the FriendMaker Workshop, and he meets a bunch of other business professionals, because it's not just a real estate specific thing. It's about business
In general, right. Mm-hmm.
And so all these different people in different industries are at this workshop, and they're learning the 7 spheres, how to do this stuff with their clients. And then at the end, you know, a little bit of here's how he implements that kind of stuff. And I
love it,
fun.
man. That is very, very, very cool. I love those kind of books. I still take the Go-Giver. If we ever go on another vacation, that's usually my air traffic book, you know, because
Bob Berg, man. It's good stuff.
Bob Berg, awesome. Well, that's really, really awesome. Art, thank you so much for sharing
Thank
that.
you.
And,
appreciate that.
Looking
Reach
forward
out.
to
Go on Amazon.
The
Get on
FriendMaker. Have you done this on Audible yet?
I haven't. I started it last year, and I just
Monty only listens.
It's so much.
I'm a better listener.
Yes.
Because there's
I need to
squirrels
get
running
You'll be
on
the
Audible.
first to buy it if you do that. So for sure.
I'll be sure to get that done soon. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
for
You got
sure.
a good voice for it too.
I
think.
appreciate it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you,
Great
Mr. R. Kelly.
information.
You just are a friend.
And I'm sorry, one more thing. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
But you are a coach as well.
Yeah,
We
I
didn't
do
talk about
some
that.
business coaching
Yeah.
for groups mainly. You know, lunch and learns with. I've done several lunch and learns with Carrie Ann and some others here in the area, and
Awesome.
so I'm looking for opportunities to do that as much as possible. Come and coach your team,
Yeah.
encourage them.
Art
definitely
Kelly.
have to have him.
ArtKelly.com, right?
Nope.
Yeah,
was-
artkelly.org.
Yeah.
.org.
Yeah.
I'm
Get it
sorry.
right.
That's all
You
right.
said it. artkelly.org. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
You've been
you.
listening
Thank
to
y'all.
the talk of Music City Real Estate.